Gonna start with your knee tap. It's a really nice warm up. We can start just with your knee coming up here. And then you can add to that a tap. Now notice as I bring that foot back, I'm bending my front knee. This might feel a little bit wobbly, so I would just suggest you take your time getting that up and tap. It's an adaptation of an exercise where we do a kick and a lunge, but obviously that's quite a lot at the moment, so we're just literally up, tap. Get that stability. If I was front on, it looks like that. So I've actually not got my legs on a tightrope. I've got a bit more space between them. So don't be afraid. Remember, your hips are kind of, your stability point is here right now and not there. So whenever you're doing exercises like this, think about having that slight gap between your feet. Moving on to a side tap balance, another warm up. Again, this is some one leg work, which I wouldn't necessarily do with the group. So we're just feeling for any issues around the pelvis or the back. We have a little squat through this leg. You're going to lift this leg up to the side. Notice my back position. If I tuck this in, you can see I'm very much trying to control that. Can you see that? So I'm down to the side. So I have a squat and I come on up. You'll know that you're there if when you're doing this, you just don't really feel it. Once you've got that tail under a bit and it's much more controlled, then you feel this work here in the side of your hip and also through your tummy. The squat tap is a step on from the side leg tap. We squat as you stand. We're just going to tap the leg to the side. So it's a bit wider. We're alternating sides. This again is a warm up. So we're coming down. If I show you from the side, as you stand, again, just try and really control that back position and those ribs, because there'll be a tendency for us to do that. So just tap in. Our lunges, which we can do weighted or without, depending on my instructions. So again, your feet are about this wide apart, and as you lunge down, you want to feel four. Okay, is my hip under? Can I just about see my front toe, so you know you've not crept too far forwards. We're going to lift up and then we lunge down, and we're aiming for, if I show you from the side, trying to get that shin almost parallel with the floor. Probably not for you at the moment, but that's where we would be heading if we did the full lunge. The other thing to bear in mind as you're doing this, it's very easy to get loose through the pelvis and just do a kind of, what's like a lazy lunge. So really try and feel you've got a straight line from the top of your head down to your back knee. Oh, one more thing, feet at the back. Sometimes because of that rotation through the hip and just a little bit of laziness, the knee does that. So watch that back foot comes around. So your feet really are, I would start with them parallel on the floor, then pick up the heel and lunge there. That way you know your hips are going to be square, not doing the funky little pregnant dance over to the side. We don't want Ricky Martin hips. We have our deadlift. I am demonstrating this with a ball. You can use a weight. We come down to the floor. It looks a bit like a cross between a deadlift and a squat. That's just because I'm aware you need a little bit more space for tummy, and you don't necessarily need to come all the way down to the floor. So we just come down. One thing you do need is that nice long back, so we're not rounding and we're not trying to tuck under. We let your tail be free. So we come down and lift up. A progression from the deadlift is to do this on one leg. So my foot's behind us. Technically, this is actually quite tricky, a bit harder than just balancing on one leg to do this. So we come on down, bending the front leg. Notice my back is still nice and long. We come up. And really, you don't want to come much further down than that. So we come in. If you had a weight, you would have it either side of that front leg, other side. This is just to really get that front leg working. So we come down. It's a deadlift rather than a lunge. So all of that weight is in the front leg. A step up, you'll have something that's a lot more stable than my kitchen step, but I'm just using this to demonstrate for you. We step, we lift, we tap, we lift, we tap, we lift. And again, feeling your hips are square on. If I'm showing you this front on, we're here, we step, we lift, step, lift. Watch out for the twisty hips again. So try and feel the front of that foot is coming down towards the floor. Taking it down to the floor, we've got our 4-point hover, so toes under, hover the knees off and away from the floor, so good for your shoulders. We have your shoulder taps, we come up and up and up, and then we have this more mobility based 4-point exercise. So we hover here, this is where we've got that control through the back, so lift the tummy up. Then we lengthen and we do allow that back to drop down a little, but we stretch from fingertip to toe. We come back through neutral, down to the floor, and then round your back. So this is all about that stability through movement. So as we move, we let the spine move, and we want those muscles to work just to support the spine. Single leg, toe comes out. We let your tail come down to your heel. The front of this foot is on the floor, and then we press and hover, drawing your tummy up towards your back. On the other side, we're there, tail, lift, back down and in.